Hello and welcome to the final round of the BF Goodrich CAM's Australian Off-Road Championship, the Hindmarsh Shire Rainbow Desert Enduro. This is the third straight year that Rainbow, a remote country town of less than 700 people, based 400 k's northwest of Melbourne, has hosted the season finale. It's a notoriously tough event with slippery roads, thick mud, long stretches of sandy desert. It's a really grueling way to wrap up the 2019 title fight. Once again, the hunt for the Australian Off-Road Championship started in the quaint township of St George in southwest Queensland. Crews attacked the new dam section of the circuit with a flurry of dust and noise. The V8-powered trophy truck of Bo Robinson made a strong start, but when the West Aussie pulled up early with engine dramas, reigning series champ Shannon Wrench was perfectly poised to collect the points, beating Mark Burrows to the checkered flag. Round 2, the biggest show in off-road racing, the Fink. Over 130 entries made the journey to Central Australia. Crowd favourite Toby Price started his campaign for a maiden four-wheel win with the quickest time down to Fink. In his dust, series leader Wrench lost 15 minutes with a puncture, finished the event 5th overall. Price's dream of a four-wheel win was dashed on the way back to Alice Springs. This handed former Australia #1 Jack Rhodes the race lead. Rhodes miraculously drove from a lowly starting position of 14th to his first King of the Desert crown. Another epic Fink Desert race has set up an exciting championship showdown in Rainbow, and slogging it out at the top of the leaderboard, the two most successful drivers in Aussie off-road racing. Leading the charge, 9-time champ Shannon Wrench. The BF Goodrich Pro Buggy star is the greatest in the modern era, with 6 Fink crowns to add to his national championships, all with his father Ian riding alongside him. Just 36 points behind Wrench, Mark Burrows, hunting for an impressive 8th title. Burrows' first championship came way back in 1988, before his son and now navigator Matthew was even born. But with the heavy loading of points for the final round and the very treacherous conditions, the list of contenders stretches way beyond just the top 2.
It was a bit wet last year, but it's going to be absolutely soaking wet this year. Finishing is going to be the hard part, I think, this weekend.
Different every time you go around, so you just got to figure it out when you're there. Yeah. It drags you to these events if you want to do well in the championship, because you've got to go to every one.
In these muddy areas, the water can be a foot deep in spots by the looks of it today. Tread carefully, pedal hard where you can, where you feel confident. The trucks could handle it quite well, and obviously the side-by-side's been all-wheel drive. Like, where we might be off the pedal, they'll be on the pedal.
We're going for our 10th championship, but yeah, I think he's on 7, so he'll be going for 8. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
We've had some great races, and he's a great competitor, and hopefully we can stick it to him. His preparation's second to no one, but hopefully this rain, it's actually probably going to play into our hands a little bit, like slow him up a little, slow the young bloke up a little bit perhaps.
Yeah, well today it's going to be a matter of survival, I think, out there.
Our #1 priority is to get to that finish line, and hopefully we can knock him over.
Our location for the final round of the championship, Rainbow, in the Wimmera Mallee region, about a 5-hour drive northwest of Melbourne. A population of less than 700 people, and they love their off-road racing. The circuit, 75 kilometres of mud and sand out through the paddocks and farmlands, and after plenty of pre-event rain, that mud will be thick. The crowd favourite jump sits proudly at the start-finish line, always a highlight of this Rainbow circuit. Saturday, the first day of racing, and unfortunately the entire day of action has had to be cancelled due to the track conditions. Now behind me it might look like beautiful blue skies, but I can assure you it's still very bitterly cold. But the damage was done overnight when 10 to 15 millimetres of rain fell in the area. But it does mean that in certain parts of the track, the puddles are very, very deep. There's actually small rivers running across parts of the circuit. And for the teams, it's a mixture of disappointment, but certainly safety had to be the #1 priority.
the track was fairly wet yesterday morning, and then they had a fair bit of rain overnight, so which made it, pretty treacherous out there today. So probably really good decision by the organisers and officials to put it off until tomorrow, just with taking in mind recovery and ambulance, getting them out the track was probably going to be impossible in sections. So I think it's a good decision. Hopefully we can make something happen tomorrow.
We were hoping to race today because the mud would help us probably get up in the championship a bit and hopefully slow some of the bigger fellas down for us, but it is what it is, I suppose, and see how tomorrow plays out and see what happens.
Another day to wait, but I think it's the right decision. I think it's for the better of everyone, even spectators, and for television coverage and all that. We're going to have all the cars on the start line tomorrow, and potentially, if this beautiful weather holds out now, it's going to be a cracker.
Sunday morning and much better conditions and a chance to go racing. The revised distance, 5 laps, totalling 375 kilometres of mud and punishment. Some sections of the track still well and truly underwater, causing a few drivers to withdraw, including the series leader.
It looks like we're not going to be running today. I've decided to go against it. I think the conditions out there are pretty horrendous and it'll be pretty tough, and we're actually moving this car on next year and we're building a new one, so I figure we'll keep it in one piece and not take the chances of doing any damage.
Obviously with the championship up for grabs, that's a very big decision, isn't it?
It is, it was a big decision, but I think it's probably the best one for us at the moment, and hopefully we can come back strong next year.
This meant Josh Howells was first on the road, first to taste the slippery conditions. Behind him, the always exciting Greg Gartner. A lot of horsepower, not a lot of traction. Mark Burrows in the perfect position to win the title. The biggest class battle yet to be settled on the final day, side-by-side turbo. For South Aussie Toby Waitley, the conditions were an opportunity to make up places on the road and in the championship. Nobody knew what to expect, and the field reached the worst affected areas. Some powered through, some got stuck. Greg Gartner chasing Josh Howells through the puddles. Then, change for the lead as Howells slipped off the road. The inaugural event winner, first to complete the opening lap. Then a surprise, as Phil Lovett arrived next, up 4 spots to second with some alternate racing lines. In third, Mark Burrows, on track for the championship win. It was soon apparent how bruising the opening lap was.
It snuck off the edge to get a bit of grip, and there was a little bit of a stump in there. Just clipped a few tyres. My mistake, so anyway, we'll just change tyres and head back out there. We're having a ball out there. So much fun.
Out after lap 1, championship contender Josh Howells.
We were just coming down at about 60k mark, and we spun out. Probably would have been doing around 150 in top gear, so that was the biggest, scariest moment. And then that's where Toby Waitley actually come down the track, and for about probably looked like 50 metres, he was just sliding until he collected us in the nerve bar, and we sort of hooked in with each other, and we couldn't get out. So that's sort of where we come to an end. And once we got out of there, we just got it back here, and happy to call it quits.
everyone's really enthusiastic and get behind the event, not only out here at the track but in town. All the shops and everything get right behind it, and with the scrutineering down the street, it's great to see everyone out there as well.
Yeah, I actually said, look how fitting, like when we were driving in there was an actual rainbow in the sky, and I thought, I'm pretty much, it happens every time we, like the last couple of years we've come along. Everyone's happy to see you. No, it's fantastic.
And then the country towns, they not changing as much, and I think that's why they keep the character, and the people are just different than in the city. There's no two ways about that.
It's a beautiful place, so they can't do enough for you. So great little town, great little track, and then we've had a bit of time in the pub now and then, you know, so a nice cold beer there as well. So no, it's a great little place.
The last round, Nick fighting for this championship. How did that come to be?
No, I don't know. It's a bit of a surprise to us, really. We're in a new car and bloody didn't really know what to expect. And just went to have a bit of fun to start off with, and then realised we might have actually been a little bit quicker than what we thought.
Because Fink's where you got the, I guess, taste for off-road racing. What's that story?
It was, yeah. So, a few years we've gone up and spectated. And watched my brother Tom on the motorbike, and then 1 year and saw these little side-by-sides first starting up and thought, oh geez, that'd be fun. So we went home and I bloody put the deposit on one.
And Nick assured me that if I would navigate for him in a side-by-side, it'd keep him off a two-wheeler motorbike down that track. So
you live out in the country, near Broken Hill. What's day-to-day life like?
Well, we're on a station out there, so we're always doing stock work and working with goats, or fencing, or mechanical repairs, or whatever
it's great,
the general sort of station.
Outdoors all the time, and
Lauren, you see a lot of couples racing together in the Australian Off-Road Racing Championship. Why is that? What do you think's the allure of going racing with your partner?
Yeah, I think the bottom line, you get to know that person quite well, so it's a situation that you need to be on the same page. You've got a lot of trust, you're putting a lot of faith in that person, and you need to communicate. Like, communication's a big thing, so I think when we can bounce stuff off one another, it really helps.
Yeah, sometimes you find yourself drifting off, but he half wakes you up, so
and I can tell when he does a corner not quite right. I talk to him, I try not to overly chat, but
You have a bit of a moment and she just starts laughing.
I laugh, so I probably shouldn't, but we're pretty light-hearted when we race.
So was this your first taste of racing then?
Yeah, totally. If you said to me a few years ago you're going to be off-road racing and side-by-side buggy, I'd be like, good joke.
But not just racing, competing for Australian championship.
I know, it's just unreal, it's so surreal, and Nick's very modest, but he's got a lot of skill there, and I feel very safe.
We're just out there for a bit of fun.
No, he says it is so casual, and I just think that's why it works. It's fun, it's good, and we enjoy it.
You've obviously achieved a lot as a couple. I guess the final question is, what would an Australian championship mean to the relationship?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much. Still there's a lot of racing to go here, so we're not really thinking about.
I might get a new set of gloves. I wanted pink gloves, and Nick said he'll get me some pink gloves, so that might be what it means.
Final round of the BF Goodrich Cams Australian Off-Road Championship, the Hindmarsh Shire Rainbow Desert Enduro, based 5 hours drive northwest of Melbourne in the Wimmera Mallee region. The story of the weekend, heavy rain pre-event left the roads muddy and treacherous. After the opening 75-kilometre lap, Greg Gartner and Jamie Jennings led the field. The competitive side-by-side turbo class been hotly contested all season. Nick Jackson and his partner Lauren Johnson led the points coming into Rainbow and were attempting to splash their way to a national championship. Unfortunately, wasn't to be.
we're only 35 k's in and we broke the output shaft and the gearbox. So, you hear stories about people bloody idling at home and jamming rags in there and all that. But no, I wasn't going to go another 300 odd k's with no oil in it. So no, we pulled up. Yeah.
Battle at the front of the field narrowed to 4 drivers. In the slippery, muddy sections, the 4-wheel drive side-by-side turbo vehicles made up time on the more powerful 2-wheel drive buggies. But out the back in the sandy desert sections, ground clearance and horsepower was the key. Result, Greg Gartner first into the pits for the scheduled refuelling break.
We just couldn't see anything, and we looped it a few times. I've had my visor up halfway around just to see, so it's mad. It's madness. It's slippery, but it's very good. I mean, it is what it is. The sand is unreal. The muddy stuff's the muddy stuff.
The vivid green crop fields of the Wimmera Mallee region had taken their toll. Over half the field had dropped out before the halfway point of the race. One victim, Chris Land, in the side-by-side sport class.
How's the day been? Oh, did a 360 at 110 k's an hour. It's done a starter motor, and that won't start.
This left John Weiss on track for the class win. The high winds helped dry the circuit. As the conditions improved, the speeds went up. Biggest jump, Dale Martin, up to second. Ahead, Greg Gartner extended his lead. His 4th lap, the quickest, averaging over 100 kilometres per hour. Mark Burrows, 3rd, still on track for the championship. The final stop for fuel, then into the final lap of the race.
The water's starting to get out of the holes. The clay's starting to go to like sticky clay, which we don't mind at all. And we're just stopping for the big holes so the water doesn't come on our helmets and bugger us up. But it's getting quicker, and yeah, look, it's good fun. We've got very low fuel pressure in this thing at the moment. The last 2 laps since we've taken off, and I think it's only run on 7. So it's only run on 7 cylinders for that whole two laps, and it's because of water. So anyway, it's still going, so we'll go and do it.
There's also a prize for biggest jump here today. Have you got your eye on that?
There's a ton of clay in this thing. It's slowing me down.
Final lap of the Hindmarsh Shire Rainbow Desert Enduro. The top 3 had broken clear of the pack. After a really strong run in the opening laps, Phil Lovett's side-by-side turbo entry fell down the order, while Greg Guilandi moved up the field. A remarkable drive from 20th to 4th and first of the many side-by-side turbo cars that pounded out the full 375 Ks. 5th outright, enough to win Royd and Bailey the side-by-side turbo championship. despite only running on 7 cylinders, Greg Gartner held on for his second win in Rainbow. Second, fine drive from Dale Martin, first in the Pro Light class. And third home, the new Australian champions, the father and son duo of Mark and Matthew Burrows. To merely survive one of the toughest days in off-road racing, for many was a victory.
Who could believe it? After winning my first championship in 1988, to come back all these years later with my son navigating and show him on top of the moon.
He wasn't even born back then.
No, he wasn't either, no. So he's done a great job today, and it's been super tough conditions. I've never driven anything like this before. It's just slippery, and it was plenty of gotchas out there. So, but we've had a great finish to the series now, and we can have some big celebrating.
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. I absolutely enjoyed this year so much. Every race has been so good. Just love riding beside him. Unreal driver. I wouldn't get anywhere with anyone else. So.
Any chance of you taking the reins one day, or are you quite happy in the passenger seat?
Well, that is the plan, yes. So hopefully we can get in the driver's seat eventually. So yeah, I love it. So.
Dad's got 8 now. Is the goal to be a champion like him?
Would be all right, wouldn't it? Yeah, but no, this is a good start to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we hung around. I'm glad we raced it. We've had a ball today, so I think the driver needs to get a bit fitter. So a bit of motorbike riding, I think. So a bit of cramp today. So, but excellent. No, we're stoked.
That is definitely the toughest day I've done in racing. I haven't done a lot of racing compared to some of the boys out there, but yeah, that's toughest. And I took that as what it is, as a learning curve. You know, just to get the experience. I've never driven anything like that.
That last lap, bit nervous on fuel?
Nervous on fuel. We had a misfire. We 360 going down a straight. The whole car went round in a circle and kept going the other way, and like it was a wild ride there. But we got home, and the track actually got really good. And I got my wife and kids here, and to do all the prep work and come here and finish has been a real, I'm happy with that, and a good result. And I've had Lee in for the day, Lee Wells, so that's been a good little partnership. My normal navigator AJ is sitting on the beach in Noosa, so AJ, you missed out, mate.
Nearly 4 hours of punishment for Greg Gartner and Jamie Jennings. Dale Martin on the podium for the first time. Remarkably, 7 side-by-sides in the top 10. Now to the final point score, an 8th title for Mark Burrows. 18 years since his last championship. An amazing number of side-by-sides towards the top, including Royden Bailey, second outright. And finally, the class breakdown and the winning drivers and navigators for season 2019. And as always, plenty of family combinations. Congratulations to Mark and Matt Burrows on the 2019 championship. A steady drive in the very tricky conditions. It's been another massive year of the BF Goodrich CAMS Australian Off-Road Championship, and the plans are for 2020 to be even bigger. Keep an eye on the website and Facebook page for all the latest news as it breaks over the off-season. To close off the year, let's relive some of the wildest moments of the season, from the red dirt and dust of St George and Fink to the thick mud of Rainbow. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.